Welcome to CineBites, a cinematic culinary podcast where we talk about food and movies, two of our favorite things.
That's right.
Today we're going to talk about one of the OG Pixar movies, the OG Pixar movie, Toy Story. We are excited to talk about this. A lot of new things that we can introduce to this episode, and you'll see that in a little bit. But join us for some good food and talking about one of the greatest Disney/Pixar movies of all time.
Feast your eyes. Yes, so we're getting into
going
Toy
straight
Story.
into it. Toy Story,
Classic.
very, very much so. It is if you grew up in my era, 90s, even late 80s or early 80s, you remember that impact that Toy Story had right off the bat. And really after that, movie after movie, Pixar has been just dealing out banger after banger, and they have just been, for the longest time, up until maybe Cars 2, they haven't really had any misses.
Cars 2 is a big miss.
Yeah.
I feel like recently Pixar gets a lot of flack for their recent stuff because it's not as good as the other stuff. And I will say it's not as good, but I don't think it's as bad as many people say.
Yeah.
But yeah, even the recent stuff that's not as good as some of the older stuff is still top tier animated movies.
Yeah.
So,
and because in 95, you didn't see this level of animation until
Ever.
Toy Story, you know, so it really shook the world. But we'll get into that a little bit more. One thing I did want to bring up, and I brought it up in the intro of the new and exciting things, and we're excited to talk about this because, and I can't remember which episode it was, we talked about having someone come on board and cook our meals and be a chef for our meals. Thankfully, one of our
loyal
munchies has come to our aid and has offered to be our chef, our personal chef for this. So I'm going to reveal the food. But before I do that, I actually like to bring Johnny on board.
Woo!
So Johnny, everyone give it up for Johnny.
The studio audience over here.
So Johnny has been following us since day one. Every time we run into Johnny, we always talk about the episode. And so we love to hear it, and we love to see, someone who loves food and movies as much as we do. And
he's repping the merch. We
the
didn't even
merch.
tell him
also, if you want to order this online, just let us know. But no, he's been great, and he offered to do this, and so it's been a huge addition to the team, and so we're excited.
We're hoping it's and already has been stepping up our food game because we can go ahead and reveal.
Yeah, let's reveal. So
here we have.
So Johnny,
pizza.
Would you like to talk about it, or do you want us to talk? What are you comfortable with? You want us to talk about it?
You'd have to lean down to the mic.
You have to lean into the mic if you want to. Okay, I'll talk about it. Okay, so Johnny has made a homemade pizza now. Usually, when
we would have bought frozen,
we would have bought a frozen pizza, just threw it in. But he did a fantastic job. The crust. He's got this zip dust, which is kind of like a Romana cheese powder.
It's already on there, but we got some extra just because it's good.
It looks delicious, but we just wanted to thank you again. And you will be seeing Johnny's other creations in later
upcoming episodes.
So we do appreciate you, Johnny. Thanks for stopping by.
He's got to get back out there and cook some more food.
Yes, got to cook some more food. So
anyway,
we appreciate you, Johnny. But yeah, so this is the pizza. We're definitely going to have to save some for him later.
That's a big. This is something I feel like we could if we wanted to, but I don't know if I'm going to eat this. I don't think we're going to eat this whole pizza.
No, this is. Oh my goodness, that looks so good.
So we probably would have just got frozen.
Oh, but we didn't even, before we introduced him, we didn't even talk about. So if you haven't seen Toy Story, first of all, shame on you.
Shame on you.
Second of all, Pizza Planet is a huge part of Toy Story. So you talk about going to Pizza Planet with Andy and Andy's mom. And so it's just, I think it was really, and this is the first time we've had pizza on the show, so it was really also probably another excuse to eat pizza. But Toy Story is a good one to do it because there's so many movies that do have pizza elements or pizza in the movie. Here, I'm gonna get you a napkin.
I'm gonna need it.
But
so far, very good.
Yeah, it's so nice to have. It's such a nice addition to the team to have a personal chef on it, and especially someone who's a fan.
Yeah, and I'm going ahead and put this out there because this is now an industry. Now that we have not really, we have a third person involved. It's now an industry, the CineBites Productions. Yeah. Anyway, not necessarily, but we are looking for somebody else who possibly would like to join the team as a video editor.
Yes.
So if you have any experience with that and you're a fan, I just think any other people that we can get on board, it's a fun way to get other people involved, and it makes it easier on Casey and I. Johnny has made our lives a lot easier and better by doing this.
Yeah.
Saves us time, saves us effort, and then but it was his offer, so he can't be mad because it's free labor. But
yeah, so good. Good.
It's free labor. So if you want to be an editor for us, it's free labor. So you're gonna have to want to do it. But
yeah.
Until CineBites becomes a multi-million-dollar company,
right? Yeah.
I mean, we're only a few weeks away from that, I think. But
yeah, only a few.
But anyway,
super good.
So we're talking about Pizza
Planet.
I was gonna say. So Pizza Planet is in the movie, and technically we usually like to eat food that they eat in the movies. But I will just say in general that I think we're being a little bit more lenient on that as we get down the line, because we're starting to run out of movies that are well-known and that we have watched that have notable food scenes. So sometimes we might have to... Like last episode, Kill Bill, I don't know if she actually ate any sushi, but there was a scene where she went to the sushi bar
and handed it to her.
And so anyway, and it was probably a different sushi than what we're having. Anyway, the characters in Toy Story, Buzz and Woody, don't eat the pizza because they're toys. They don't eat anything.
Right.
So it's a little bit lenient in the way that they don't actually eat it, but you can't argue that there's not pizza in Toy Story.
Mm-hmm.
And we just went with a classic pepperoni. I'm sure that they have all kinds of pizza at Pizza Planet, but they
have a whole planet of pizza.
They have a whole planet, but usually, pepperoni is it's the one you see. I mean, come on,
man, this is good. Thank you again, Johnny. He's not here.
He's not here. He's in there.
But when he listens to this later, we really do appreciate it. Yeah. So already off to a good start with the pizza. Now we're talking about Toy Story. Toy Story is on its fourth. I think now coming up on fifth movie.
Are they making a fifth?
I think it's in pre-production.
Dang, okay.
You can look it up, but I'm pretty sure they are. Because I thought someone said that. They said there's a fifth one. We know Moana 2 is coming out.
Coming out this year.
I think a Frozen 3 is coming out. So a lot of Disney fans are really going to enjoy it. So Toy Story... Such an easy concept for a story, and I'm surprised that no one has ever thought about it, but that after no one looks, the secret is that these toys come to life, and, they essentially are, I don't know, committed or have their owner, which is usually a kid, and there's toys. And so that owner's looked at like, we have to be there for our owner kind of thing. And so Woody has always been the favorite for the longest time, and then a new toy comes along because that whole space toy popularity comes through, and so Woody gets kind of pushed to the side and gets really jealous and tries to get rid of Buzz, and so in doing so ends up getting lost as well because the other toys seem to see or figure out what he's doing. And so, long story short, I mean, I feel like this is, I'm explaining it to someone who's just never heard of Toy Story, but I don't know how you could not have heard of Toy Story.
Yeah.
And I just realized they were really basic on their titles back then, because like Toy Story, it's a tale
story about toys.
Bug's Life, it's a story about bugs. They're kind of vague on everything. Cars. It's a movie about
literally
cars.
called Cars.
Yeah, like they got.
You are right.
They got so
some
lazy
other
with
ones.
it. What are Let's think.
I don't know.
I'm thinking OG ones. I can't. I'm spacing right.
Toy Story 2.
Yeah. Toy Story 3. Think of something original.
Monsters Inc.
That's true.
original.
That was a good one. Yeah. And
That's original.
That's the thing. I think that Pixar has always been really good about that other animations have not, is the uniqueness of the story. And a lot of animations where they've all followed a trend of, I don't know, whatever the case may be, but Pixar has had a really good job of bringing to life that uniqueness in animation, and it's shown its success over the years. Definitely a great addition to Disney.
Now we're talking about the first Toy Story right now, but what is your favorite Toy Story movie?
This is the first one.
Really?
Yeah, first one's my favorite, just because I mean, it kind of goes along the lines of what we've talked about in the past when it comes to sequels or like multiple movie renditions. Is there was a reason that there was multiple movies to begin with, you know, like we talked about the Guardians movies. So some of them, rarely will I say that a sequel is better than the original, but I think the only time that I will say that is if there was already a plan for, excuse me, I'm trying to chew this one, for like Lord of the Rings, for example. Like my favorite is not the first one.
They're all
planned.
Yeah, they were all planned together.
But so with Toy Story, I don't think they knew when they first came out that they were going to make multiples of it until it peaked its popularity. And it wouldn't have peaked its popularity without the success of the first one. And so the first one is definitely my favorite.
I have to say that Toy Story 3 is the best Toy Story movie.
Did it make you cry as a Disney adult?
Yeah. Well, I wasn't even an adult when it came out, though.
Yeah.
I don't think.
Well, I know some people who were adults and they were crying during that scene.
I mean, it is very emotional. I mean, if you saw the movie in 95, you were a kid. This came out in 2010, Toy Story 3. So I was 10 years old when I saw it. So I wasn't crying as a Disney adult. I was crying as a preteen.
You just need to grow up.
Yeah,
as
apparently.
a preteen.
Apparently.
No,
but I think Toy Story 3 is the best Toy Story movie. I think
Could
a
it
lot
be
of
the
people.
nostalgia too. You think?
I
Because
think
that
so.
came out when you were younger.
It came out when I was younger, but it came out recent enough that I remember it. Like I wasn't even born when the first one came out.
Yeah.
The second one came out when I was probably like 5. No, it came out in 99. Never mind. I wasn't even born yet.
Oh.
I thought Toy Story 2
probably-
came out in early 2000s.
So that's probably why.
So
I do like the second one too.
I
but it
think
goes back
that
to
majority,
nostalgia.
most people say that they prefer Toy Story 2 the most.
Yeah.
I think in general that's the main consensus when you ask people what's the best Toy Story movie.
Toy Story 2 is fantastic, by the way.
Toy Story 1
Actually,
has
I might take it
100%.
back. I might. Maybe the second one might be my favorite. I don't know. They're both really good.
Toy Story 1, 100% Rotten Tomatoes. Toy Story 2, 100% Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah.
Toy Story 3, I think 98.
Still super high.
98. And then Toy Story 4, 97.
Yeah.
I will say, I feel like for me personally, it should have ended at Toy Story 3. If they're making a fourth one,
They're making a fifth
or
one.
a fifth one, I mean,
Yeah.
then I'm a little bit.
The fourth one wasn't too bad.
The
But
fourth one wasn't bad necessarily, but I don't feel like it was a necessary movie.
Right. No, I agree.
And then, so it's just like, it's an extended, because I thought, the biggest thing was their Andy's toys.
Yeah.
And they were Andy's toys for 1 through 3. And number 3 was he's going off to college. Everyone's all grown up now. This movie came out 11 years after the second one.
Yeah.
And I thought it was the perfect send-off.
Yeah.
Like, it's sad, and everyone was crying, and it was the perfect send-off. They're like, no, just kidding, they're back again.
Yeah.
And we're going to throw a whole bunch of new characters in. And then at the end of Toy Story 4, spoiler alert, then Woody and Buzz are going to get separated.
Yeah.
So what are they doing? If they're doing a fifth one, what are they doing?
I don't know.
Are they going to have 2 different storylines with Buzz and Woody? Because if they do, first of all, that would be weird.
Yeah.
And if they didn't and they brought them back together, second of all, then that makes the fourth movie worth nothing. The ending, at least.
Yeah. I'll tell you what they're doing. They're milking the franchise.
Well, yeah, that's exactly what they're doing.
Cash grab.
In my head canon, Toy Story ended in Toy Story 3.
Yeah. There you go.
I don't hate Toy Story 4. I do like the character and the idea of Forky. I thought Forky was very funny.
Yeah.
But just in general, should just ended at Toy Story 3.
Yeah.
A little tearjerker to end it off, and everybody's happy and sad.
I get that. Yeah, and then I actually, another fun fact. So on my Game Boy Color, way back in the
there
day,
we go.
that Game Boy Color, I had a Toy Story 2 game, and it was so much fun. So I actually looked up a YouTube video of the gameplay like recently, and it just brought back a lot of memories. But I mean, it's had such a huge cultural, social impact, and it's I mean, it's changed the film industry, I think. For because like after this, think about all the other big hits that came.
Movies.
Like DreamWorks really kicked into high gear with their 3D animation. So it really paved the way for. Yeah,
I mean, Toy Story. I don't know if we said this yet, but Toy Story was the first fully CGI/3D animated movie ever.
Yeah,
the first.
And looked good. Like it didn't look like a
I mean,
cheap...
Pixar was the name for this kind of thing. So they did this, and this Toy Story was. Correct me if I'm wrong. Toy Story came out before Disney acquired Pixar. Am I wrong?
That sounds right. Well,
I feel like Toy Story.
They had the Pixar, the lamp. Isn't that where it started? Was with Toy
Story?
So
there's a lot of. Okay, I'm seeing Disney Pixar on all the posters for Toy Story,
except for the first one.
No, on the first one.
Okay.
So maybe they did, but I do know that there were a number of short films that Pixar did before Disney acquired them. I know that for certain because that's how Disney acquired them, is they saw these short films.
Right.
So there was. And I actually used to watch them a lot. I feel like Pixar was actually just a huge thing for me when I was little. Even though a lot of it came out before I was born, we had like a box DVD set of Pixar short films at home, and I used to watch them all the time. There's the first ever Pixar short film was
the lamp, wasn't it? And the lamp and the baby lamp?
I'm pretty sure it was the Tin Toy. Which is what inspired. So I have the picture right here.
Let me see.
But the Tin Toy.
Oh, I don't know if I remember that.
You can watch it on Disney Plus. It's like 3-minute short. It's what inspired the Toy Story films. It's a little tin toy who gets chased around by a baby. The baby and that
is creepy.
A very creepy baby. And I think they used the same baby model that they had for the Tin Toy animation for Andy's baby sister in the movie.
Oh, okay.
But they gave her like different hair and different things.
Yeah,
but still,
that's funny.
Very creepy baby. Anyway, there's I think this was it right here. Pixar short films collection that I had on DVD.
Oh, nice.
There was the lamp. What's the lamp's name? I think Luxor or something is the lamp's name.
Yeah.
There's like the little snowman animation, the birds.
Oh, the birds was a really good one. I think that was for Monsters, Inc. when it was first released.
And then the old guys who are playing chess.
Yeah.
All those different things.
Well, old guy. He's playing by himself.
That's true. That's right.
Yeah.
And so,
really good.
Anyway, Pixar has a huge impact on the industry in general.
Huge.
I mean, the impact is still there. Of course, we see the... I don't know what you would say, the impact of their impact. But I think more recent, that's the best way for me to explain it. I think more recently, they've not been as big of a blow up whenever there's a new Pixar movie. Because it used to be like, hey, new Pixar movie's coming out, everybody stop what you're doing, we're going to watch it.
I agree.
And in the last 5-8 years, it's been like new Pixar movies are coming out. Oh, that looks interesting. Unless it's a sequel or something or a spin-off of a previous franchise. If it's a new Pixar movie, people aren't as interested in doing it. Yeah. And I think maybe that's just the industry in general right now, is that people, even though I feel like people would want it, people are not watching original things.
Right.
They want to see redone things. They want to see reimagined things. They want to see, and part of that is the industry's fault because they know that they can make money off of it. But I think it's also us as the viewers' fault for going, hey, you keep feeding us the same stuff that's coming over and over again. All of the Disney live action reboots.
Yeah.
For Toy Story sequels, all that kind of stuff, and we're gonna keep taking it. And then an original movie comes out that could be fantastic, but it doesn't get as much money. I mean, it really comes down to the money. And so,
what's the last Pixar movie that came out that was released?
Last Pixar, I was
gonna look at it. I'm quizzing you. I think.
Oh, you're quizzing me.
Yeah.
The last Pixar movie to come out, was it Turning Red?
Or no, I think there was one that came out after that. It was. There's one that came after that.
I don't know if I've seen it then. Is it Luca? Luca came out before Turning Red, I thought.
Yes.
But Turning Red is the second most recent, right? It has to be.
Yes. Yes, Turning Red, and then
why can't I think of what the most recent Pixar movie is?
Yeah, there was this one movie.
Is it good?
I think I saw it, and it was actually not too bad.
You'll just have to tell me. I really can't. Once you say it, I'm gonna be like
Elemental.
Oh yeah.
Elemental.
Elemental
I think
is
the most
decent,
recent.
but that's. I mean, there's a perfect example of what I'm talking about.
Exactly.
The fact that I literally can't think of it.
Because back in that time span of where there were banger after banger after banger, you could name it off right away. You're like, oh, are you gonna go see the new Pixar movie? Blah blah. And that happened for the longest time, and then it just didn't. But
still, I think, they're still very impactful. Some of my favorite movies are Pixar movies.
Yeah.
And there's nothing to be ashamed about because they are cartoons, but I feel like it's a boomer mentality to say that things like Pixar specifically, they're all children's films.
Right.
I understand that there are children's animations, and I'm exposed to that every day of my life when I have a almost 3-year-old.
Yeah.
But I also know there's a huge difference between some of the stuff my 2-year-old watches and a legit well-made Pixar movie.
Right.
And I feel like some people, I think we're getting over that, but I still think there's a number of people that are like, "Oh, you like this movie? That's a kids movie because it's animated."
Exactly.
And it's like,
which I honestly kind of hate that.
It's so annoying to me because you jump all the way to just the other side of the world. We're talking in Japan. Anime is a huge thing everywhere now, but anime in Japan is not this is a kids thing. It's actually, there's a lot of adult anime things that are can be very violent and
I'd
dark.
say most of it,
and
probably.
very dramatic. But then of course there's Pokemon and there's different things like that are more geared towards kids.
Yeah.
But I think in general we've just put animation in this pocket of this is a kids medium.
Right.
And so if you enjoy this, then it's a kids thing. And I realize that, majority of the time, a lot of the American Hollywood animation is going to be geared towards kids, but there is a lot of stuff that's animated that is not directly geared towards kids. I mean, I recommended the Pinocchio by Guillermo del Toro
which
a
was
few
really
weeks
good.
ago.
Yeah.
And
I did end up watching it. It was really good.
and that's stop motion, so it's slightly different, but that's the type of movie that I think a kid could watch it and it could be fine, but my 2-year-old daughter would not be interested in that sort of thing.
Right.
It definitely gears more towards, older, adults and teenagers and that sort of thing. So anyway, we should probably get into reviewing the food.
Yeah. Well, food and movie, and then we can go into CineSnacks. So a combination between one of the greatest foods of all time and one of the greatest Pixar movies of all time.
This is going to be a high one, too.
It's going to be a high one for me, too. But I don't know if let's think. Okay. I'll do. All right. I got mine. 9.3. Oh, we were close.
Man, I'm more...
Because I think I like sushi more than I like pizza. No. I don't think that's the case. I think I like pizza more than sushi, but I think I like Kill Bill more than I like Toy Story. So I think that's where it went down a little bit for me.
I think
but it's
I
still
went
really,
up.
really high.
I think I just went up. I only went up 2 points.
Yeah, a couple points, yeah.
But I think it's just in general, I think I like both Toy Story and pizza a little bit more than both Sushi and Kill Bill.
Yeah.
But for different reasons, though. I mean, comparing Kill Bill and Toy Story is a bit of a
it's a huge difference.
That's a huge gap.
Talk
about different.
Adults.
Yeah, Kill Bill versus Toy Story and Sushi versus Pizza.
Yeah.
It's like complete opposites on both spectrums.
Right, that's true.
But I love it all.
Yeah, no, it's all really good. I mean, we're fans of Pixar. At least the OG Pixar's for me. I mean, I really like the old ones. But
yeah, I'm hopeful. I feel like we've been in this, like I'm saying, this rut of remakes and redos and, whatever for a while. And I feel like in the last year or two, that not just in the animation, just in general, that we've been seeing more original stuff become popular.
Right.
At least that's what I'm hoping. I think part of that is due to being burnt out from the same stuff and people being interested in more indie films and more, smaller.
Right.
It really comes down to money, because I really think mid-budget films have just been wiped. Mm-hmm. There's no such thing as a mid-budget film anymore that only costs, $50 to $100 million.
Right.
And that sounds like a lot of money, but that's a mid-budget film.
Yeah.
When around 50 million, I would say is but even in the early 2000s, you'd have mid-budget films 20, 30 million.
Yeah.
That's it for it, but then they'd be wildly successful. And I think that has to do with I don't know, it's just super weird. I think that because of the wipe of mid-budget films, it's just a studio thing. They know that these big blockbuster films, it might cost us $500,000 or $500 million up front to make this big Marvel movie blockbuster, but we know it's going to double its money.
Right. Yeah.
You know what
true,
I mean?
True.
But if we spend $50 million on this smaller film, then it might double its money, but we're only making $50 million on it when we could make $500 million on this other franchise.
Right.
It's really a money game, and so it's wiped up mid-budget films, and I think because of that wiped up a lot of original ideas, because people just want the popular things over and over again, or industries want the popular things over and over again because they make lots of money, unfortunately.
Cash grabs.
Grabs, what can I say? Toy Story 5 coming out.
It really does take out the creativity and originality with movies. And that's one of the biggest reasons why, if you watch movies or enjoy watching movies, hopefully is because of its originality and creativity.
Yeah. So, I think that's kind of
the artistry of it.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of what I was talking about in the previous episode in Kill Bill, of I think that's why, even though Quentin Tarantino's movies are very successful, they're not billion-dollar movies.
Yeah.
They kind of have a cult classic status, but you enjoy them because they're original and they're creative.
Right.
And a lot of early Pixar stuff is original and creative, and they're still coming out with original and creative things like Elemental, and that's original and creative. It's just not as successful. But anyway, I was going to mention briefly about one thing about the original Toy Story, since we've been talking about just Pixar in general a lot, is the animation on the first Toy Story movie. I'm not trying to dog it, because I know it's the first ever one that's ever made, but you have to get used to the way it looks. When you watch the movie now, in 2024, when you watch it, you have to be like, it for the first little while, it's very jarring how rudimentary it looks. And so it's very interesting, because you jump from Toy Story 2 is already an improvement.
Yeah,
but
huge.
Toy Story 3 and 4, if you compare that to Toy Story 1, it is a world of a difference.
Right.
And so I think that's why I maybe also bring Toy Story down in my ranking.
Yeah.
Is because of the animation, and it's not even its fault, because it was cutting edge at the time. It's not its fault, but if we could have a Toy Story, talk about remakes, if we could have Toy Story remade just more modern animation to where it would look better, then I feel like, I don't know.
Kind of like how they do that with remastered video games and stuff. They do a remastered Toy Story. That would actually be pretty sick.
It would be pretty cool to have
awesome.
a remastered Toy Story. I'm sure it wouldn't be easy though, because you'd just be making the whole movie over again.
Yeah. Another thing too, I saw this watching Toy Story the other day, with my daughter, and it was so funny. I didn't catch it until recently, but there's a part where they're pulling up to the gas station where Woody and Buzz get into it,
Yeah.
where they're just like they start
They
fighting.
get stranded.
Yeah, or is like what's the line that Buzz Lightyear says, that he's a peaceful person or whatever. He's like, but we're not on my planet now, and they start fighting.
Yeah.
So when they pull up to the gas station, I didn't notice it, and maybe this was a thing back in the 90s, but if you watch, and maybe I can pull up the picture, but if you watch it again, you will see them pulling up, and you have Andy's mom, and then his sister is, because she's like essentially a baby in that, right?
Mm-hmm.
His sister is sitting in the front seat, in the car seat facing forward, and I guess as a dad you're just kind of like, why is that happening? So I'll have to show you the picture.
It's possible that was something in the 90s. I don't know.
I was just like, you have you're sitting in the front seat as a baby and like with the adult.
It could be, because am I wrong in remembering that Buzz and Woody were in the back seat, and then they fell out? Because it may have been, they may have just had to put the daughter in the front seat or something for like a storytelling standpoint, that they had to have the toys in the back seat, but they couldn't have the daughter back there too, because she would notice if they were fighting each other.
But I don't know, because I think she takes her in, but it's just and if you look it up, but I think but I think she takes her in maybe, but she's obviously asleep in the movie. But I just thought it was a crazy thing.
Yeah, you're right. Here's another scene. This may be near the end of the movie. Molly, a baby, was riding forward facing in the front seat.
Yeah.
This is an article. Oh, not an article, a Reddit post. Toy Story 1995. Molly, a baby, was riding forward facing in the front seat. Andy's mom was not a very safe mom. Then again, we didn't have to wear our seatbelts when I was a kid, riding in the back of the station wagon.
Yeah. That's so funny though to see that. But I thought that was a random one to bring up. But so Toy Story, great movie. Let's get into the CineSnacks.
Oh yeah. Oh,
we'll go straight into it.
I needed to pick a movie. And that's what I was forgetting.
So
what is wrong with me?
This time while you're looking up the movie, so Toy Story is definitely one of, I would say, my favorite Pixar movies. I will actually say my all-time favorite Pixar movie is Incredibles.
Oh, Incredibles is incredible.
Has always been my favorite. Even the second one is pretty fun to watch.
Second one's pretty good, but
Incredibles has always been my favorite. And that one, I mean, I guess, actually, I would say the uniqueness is that it's a family of superheroes. You never really saw a huge family where every single one of them had superpowers. So I thought that was really.
I have the movie
cool
now.
Too. Okay.
I'm once again questioning myself if we've done this. I don't think we.
You have the clues too.
No, let me get them.
Okay. All right. So yes or no questions. 3 clues.
Let me write the clues. Man, what would it be?
And lately, it's not that we've been giving each other harder movies. It's that I don't know what it is. It just seems like it has been getting more difficult. But I mean, we still get movies that are popular or have been popular. It's not like we're giving a random French independent movie.
Yeah, we might get to that point.
Yeah.
I have 2 out of 3 hints. I'm trying to think. Okay, this is good.
Okay.
All right, I'm gonna show everybody.
Okay.
There's the movie.
I'm closing my eyes and not looking that way.
All right, I have it up because I know this movie. I have seen it.
Okay.
But I just want to make sure I
Need
have
some
accurate
details.
information.
Okay, sounds good.
All right. Do you have a timer up?
Oh, I don't, but I can. All right.
You should probably have it so you know how much time you have. I don't need to know how much time you have.
Okay. Ready, 3, 2, 1, go. Is it 2000s?
Nope.
2010s?
Yep.
Okay. Is it 2011?
Nope.
12?
Nope.
13?
Nope.
14?
Nope.
15?
Nope.
16?
Nope.
17?
Nope.
18?
Nope.
19?
Yep.
Oh, 2019. Okay. Oh, big
Good.
year
That's a
for
good
me.
year for movies.
It's a big year for me, too. Shoot. White male lead?
Yes. Let's go.
Comedy?
No.
Drama?
Yes. In some way.
Thriller?
No.
Action?
Yeah.
Drama, action? Okay. Is the main lead a popular person?
Not
Like a popular
not
actor.
super popular. No.
But they've been in a handful of things that I've probably seen.
They've been. This is probably the biggest thing that they've been in. I'm
Would
looking
I-
at it now.
Okay.
You may recognize some of their other stuff, but this is the biggest movie and TV show that he's been in, from
Okay.
what I recognize.
Is there a love interest?
No.
Is it sci-fi?
No.
Is it musical?
No.
Is it? Is there water involved?
I'm gonna say no. I don't want to confuse you. I mean,
Okay.
there's water in the movie, but
Okay. Is there animals involved?
no.
Is there any animation piece?
No.
Is set in 2019 or like?
No. Not set in 2019.
Oh, okay. So it's a timepiece.
Yes.
Is it? Is the timepiece in the 40s,
No.
50s,
No.
60s?
No.
Like, is it way back in the day, like 1800s,
No.
1900s?
Yes.
Okay, so early 1900s.
Yeah.
Okay, early 1900s.
Yeah. How much time do you have?
20 seconds. Clue. I forgot about the clue.
Plane.
Okay, another clue.
Long.
Long. Okay, another clue.
Running.
Plane. Long.
I don't want to give it away with my clues because I actually feel like you're close.
Long. Plane. Is it? Is
long.
This,
Long is not referring to something in the movie. It's referring to the movie. Not that the movie.
the length of the movie.
Not that the movie is super long. You'll understand what I mean.
Okay.
It's not something. It's not that something in the movie is long, like there's this long road or something.
Okay.
But it's referring to the production of the movie, saying long.
Okay.
That will make more sense in a minute once you.
So it was
You're getting close.
Long plane. What was the other one?
Plane is a very brief thing, but it is in the movie, and then running.
Okay.
There's one element that you're missing that I think would immediately give away this movie.
Okay, this is my guess. It's the only one I can think of, but no, it didn't come out in 2019.
There's one element that you're missing that would immediately give it away, but you're close. You're close.
That one did not. That did not come out in 2019. That
This
came
is a
out
good
before
movie
that.
too.
Plane. Plane was a minor one. Long was the length. I don't think I watched a whole lot of movies in 2019.
2019 was a great year for movies, though.
I know, and it was a
2019
big year for me.
2019 was I was at the movie theater a lot in 2019
Yeah.
because it was before I had kids, and I think at the time, and it was before COVID. I think I had the AMC A list. I was at the movie literally every week.
And running
in
is like
2019.
a physical running.
Yeah. There is a key. I'll just tell you, there is a key scene in this movie where the main character is running. It's probably the most famous scene from this movie where he is running.
Oh man.
You'll know exactly what I'm talking about if you've seen it. If you've not seen it, then we're gonna be having a different conversation. But
Trying to think. No. I can try it, but I don't think so.
all right, that's your guess. That's your guess.
All right.
I want to
There you
see
go.
your guess first.
12-Year Slave?
Nope, not
No.
12 Years a Slave.
Well, it's like
1917.
oh.
Have you seen it?
Yes, I have. It came out in 2019.
2019. So I
And
say
and
long.
That even like came in my mind too.
Yeah. So
Oh my gosh.
there's one brief scene where there's a plane that crashes,
It's
and
really
then there's
good.
the one scene where he's running. He jumps out of the trench and he's running towards the camera
Yeah.
while everyone else is running the other way.
It's like one long.
And then I say
continuous-
long because 1917, which you haven't seen it, it's a 2-hour movie, but it is a one long uninterrupted shot.
Yes.
Now,
Yeah.
it was interrupted, but
There are
the
a
cuts
couple parts.
the cuts are secret.
Yeah.
There's lots of cuts in the movie, but they're
Yeah.
secret. You don't notice them. Like usually it's like a panning cut where maybe the camera moves, and when it moves, it cuts to a next scene, or somebody walks a swiping cut.
Yeah.
Somebody walks in front of the frame, and the cut follows their body, so you don't see it. Anyway,
I should have guessed that.
It's a really great movie. If you've not seen,
he's actually in. Have you ever seen? Was it Captain Fantastic? I think is what it's called.
I see that right here, but I have never seen or heard of that movie.
Very, very good. If you get a chance to watch it, it's a very good. That could. I'll do a quick digest. Watch Captain Fantastic because really, really, really good. But he is. I remember him from that too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Check it out.
In terms of when I was looking at his like Google thing of what he's been in a number of stuff, but he's
probably his leading role.
This is his biggest leading role, most popular role for sure by far.
All right,
but he's been in a number of different things.
What's my punishment?
Your punishment, if you remember in Toy Story 1, Buzz gets dressed up as, what's her name? Mrs. Nesbit.
Mrs. Nesbit.
So I have a teacup for you, and so you'll have to swap your hat.
So do I have to say
Yeah, so I will now refer to you as Mrs. Nesbit. You should get a voice or something.
What does he do one?
I don't know.
He's kind of delusional in the show, so he's just like Mrs. Nesbit. Like,
yeah. So how's it going? How are you doing, Mrs. Nesbit? How's your tea?
Enjoying my tea. And let me pour a little bit, but a little tea party. That's one thing I haven't done with my daughter yet is a tea party. But it'll probably look like this.
Yeah.
So yeah. Thank you. I'm Mrs.
You look
Nesbit.
I am Mrs. Nesbit.
I'm Mrs. Nesbit.
You look very pretty.
Thank you.
The hat suits you.
Good. It's every hat that I have to get custom made hats because my head's so big.
Yeah,
so
I was
every
say,
hat
it
that I
even
wear,
fit your
just,
head. I do think it's a child's hat though.
Oh,
so
then
you're
makes sense.
you're off the hook there. But
anything you want to digest?
Yeah, today, Mrs. Nesbit, I have a digest for you. It's a music rec.
Okay. Mrs. Nesbit.
That I talked to Casey about. I've not mentioned it to you, Mrs. Nesbit.
Oh yes.
That I've talked to Casey about it. It's this duo band, Domi and JD Beck. Domi. I think it's Domi.
Okay.
DOMI and JD Beck. I've been listening to their music a lot in the background when working in different things. So they have a recent album, came out a couple years ago. But these guys are insane instrumentalists. One guy plays the drums, and then the girl Domi, she is, I think, Swedish or something. So he's American from somewhere in the U.S. I don't remember, maybe Texas. And then she's like Swedish or something. Anyway, but she plays the keys, and she's absolutely insane on the keys. I've seen her videos of her in concert where she has two keyboards. One is her keyboard for playing bass, and then she has her right hand playing a lead line. So she plays a bass line on the left hand and a lead chords or lead line on one hand. Sometimes she goes both hands on both of them, and then she also has a keyboard, one of those like organ foot keyboard things under her thing. She's also moving both of her feet in different spots for different effects and different sounds. And so absolutely insane. And he's a really, really good drummer too. The music is like, I read a couple articles because I was just curious about them, and people have just said it's like quintessential Gen Z jazz. And so it's like they're both very young, I think younger than me. And so but their music is just like this jazz fusion type stuff. Some very fast playing, some very funky, but then they have some things that are more like chilled back. They had Anderson .Paak on a couple songs, I think.
Oh yeah, I love him.
And even like I think Snoop Dogg on a song. So they had like some rappers feature. They do sing in a couple of their songs, but that's not their strong suit. So they don't even have a lot of songs where there's a few songs that are just instrumental. But there's a lot that they do have sing too. But that's why they have features as well. Anyway, that's been kind of on repeat for me recently. I told Casey about it.
Yeah, Casey told me too on Mrs. Nesbit. Casey
Mrs.
told me
Nesbitt.
that it's really good. He really likes what he heard, but Mrs. Nesbitt doesn't listen to music.
Yeah.
I just drink tea.
That's all you
I
do,
just
Mrs.
tea
Nesbitt.
Mrs. Nesbitt.
So anyway, if you like jazz fusion type thing, and I don't know, need some music for the background. I always love finding good music for background music. I have a few artists that I listen to that are kind of chiller type of things.
Oh yeah.
They're kind of chill, but they're also a little bit like they play so fast and sometimes that it's not chill, and you're like, gives you a headache because it's so fast and so technical. But
yeah.
Anyway,
Nice.
That is my recommendation.
Very cool.
It says on their website, I read this the other day, and I don't even know if this is true, but it said on their website that Domi is a saxophone. Oh, she's from France, not Sweden. Saxophone prodigy from France. I don't know what if this is true, if any. It says not only is she the only living theoretical physicist, but she is the youngest person to receive a Nobel Prize in physics.
Whoa.
And J.D. Beck is a 6-year-old sheep investigator from Texas. See, I don't know what this means. I don't know if this is a joke or if this is true, and I'm serious. I really don't know. It says he received a PhD in quantum physics at Stanford University earlier this year. He has since devoted his life to smooth jazz and wishes to be taken seriously in the music industry.
That's wild.
So he has if that's true,
they're both just
he has
brilliant.
I wouldn't be surprised though, because if you watch videos of them, they are brilliant when they're playing their instruments. Absolutely insane.
That's amazing.
So anyway,
very cool. Yeah, check them out. That's real awesome.
A PhD in quantum physics.
Very cool. Awesome.
I hope you enjoy that, Mrs. Nesbitt. You'll have to enjoy that music later.
I'll let you know when I'm drinking my tea.
Yeah. After you're done drinking your tea.
Done drinking my tea.
So anyway, for this episode of CineBites, we had some fun to talk about some classic animation, eat some good pizza.
Great pizza.
Thanks for listening today. You can catch us on all major podcasting platforms: Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, all those different things. So catch us on there. Watch our YouTube version on YouTube as well, so you can see our pretty faces and see Johnny. Johnny made his guest appearance today.
Yes, he did.
We'll see you next time on CineBites. So bon appetit and happy viewing.